I know that our programming, which was done in conjunction with the conductor, Pat Miles, the programming was, I thought, always very compatible with not only the performers, but the audiences. We had pretty good attendances at all our concerts, as we are today. Mm-hmm. Thank goodness. So,
I think one of the basic differences is that right off the bat, we decided to be a group that paid to play, and which again sets us apart. We have a big educational outreach. We always included students. We did and still do require a playing audition for students who usually come with a recommendation from their private teacher or their school teacher, because that's a big part of who we are. And
well, I know, and you never wanted a student at a school to choose civic over their
youth,
own orchestra.
over their youth symphony.
But there were a lot of schools that didn't have
their
own programs,
and
so this worked as a substitute.
And we didn't want to be a substitute for the youth symphonies groups that were sponsored and still are by the Green Bay Symphony. So we wanted to make sure that if such programs existed in their schools, that they were a part of that and supporting that too. So there was always, it seemed like every week there was another facet of putting this thing together that we hadn't thought of. And oh yeah, right, we should do this, you know. I'm such a proponent of community groups for the health of the population. And as you can see, we're seniors. But I just think it's so important for people to be a part of community groups. And as a former teacher, you know, I always would say, you know, this may not mean much to you now, but when you're 40 years old, you'll be glad you can find a group someplace and jump in with your horn, even if you're new in a community. And I just think it's just important. It's important to my health and my well-being, and I hope it is for everybody else. And it was a daunting task, to put it mildly. Mm-hmm. And it really became certainly a big part of our lives.
oh yes.
Before that, we thought a family was a big part of our lives, having kids, but this became more than a child.
Right, you know, and what becomes important to me is that I know it keeps me living a little longer. I'm 86 now, and I hope to go another 10 years or so, blowing my horn, my trumpet. So, anyway.
The fundraising part of it, everybody did fundraise. Mm-hmm. Everybody. We had to. And that's always a tough thing. And we all learned a lot. There's no doubt about it. You learned an awful lot. It's a hard thing, but I'm not willing to say that like one of the quotes in the paper recently, that our market can't support certain things. And there are things that we need, and it can be done. It can be done if the will is there, but it's maybe a hard sell. Mm-hmm. It's a hard sell, and I think the arts are always a hard sell. When you're sitting there, and even when you're playing sometime, and you feel tears, and it's not because of what I'm able to do with my cello, and it's the group thing. It's that whole thing. I don't know where else you get that feeling. Maybe I'm sure it exists in other group things, but it's the reason that I think a kid in a band suddenly feels that when he's playing or marching or in a parade, or where you're a part of something, and yet it's moving everybody. You know, you know, where you're coming to this monumental climax in the music, and you don't know. It takes somebody, maybe Maya Angelou would have known. What makes your heart just open up and you just say, ah,